I'm not into the whole national, multinational nonsense. I don't dig that narrative, man. That's not what I'm into. What I'm into is local people doing local things locally. That's pretty redundant, but it gets the message across. I really like it when there's a local alternative to a national issue or a national problem, or a local solution to a national problem, or a local solution to a local problem. And something that I really like are apps that help me out because I'm really, really lazy. And there are quite a few apps which will help you out if you're really, really lazy. But the one that I'm looking at right now is actually, well, it's new-ish. It's called Shipped. It's hard to pronounce. It's hard to spell. SHIPT. One letter away from a ban from the FCC. Shipped. It's a grocery delivery app. App-based grocery delivery service is now in Chattanooga. Now, if that sounds spectacular to you, then we're on the same page here. Basically, the idea is you sign up to be a member of this thing and you receive groceries, and you can even become an independent contractor who ships groceries. It's not as local as I would like. It's actually out of Alabama, but whatever works. It's an Alabama-based app, according to the Times Free Press, and it's a grocery delivery service, which is now expanding into our area with plans to begin delivering groceries from Publix stores later in the month, as in by the end of the year, which is always nice. This article was published on December the 11th, so this is going to bring this to us by the end of the year, which is great, because think about our solution, right? Think about where we are. Most of us, if you're young especially, live in apartments somewhere in the city. And maybe you live somewhere in the city and you're not really close enough to Publix to warrant you wanting to spend the gas to go there. That happens. So instead, what you do is you have these items delivered to you. And we're seeing a lot of apps that are doing that for us. It's delivery. It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. No, but it's delivery that keeps popping up as an app, like apps for delivery. And probably this is going to be described as Uber for groceries. In fact, I've already seen certain apps be described as Uber for groceries already. So this is another Uber for groceries, essentially. But hey, that's cool. And the whole idea that the main thing that I like about it, I'm getting really excited about it. The thing that I like about this is that it's so dang convenient. Now we're seeing things like Amazon, which are delivering, going to be delivering items via drone to your door, and that's one of the coolest things ever. Basically, is having something delivered to your house from a drone that's flown from the Amazon fulfillment center. How neat is that? And I know Amazon is a national company, so I can't really be a huge fan of it because I like to be as local as possible. And this is borrowing from Nooganomics, which is the idea that David Tulis, our host here on Hot News Talk Radio, he's on from 9 to 11. That's an idea that he espouses and really builds upon, too, is the idea of local economy and localism, and the local markets being better than the national markets, which is really something that modern people here today don't really think that much in that regard. We don't really think that local is better a lot of the time. We'll, more often than not, we'll go to a national solution. Now, Chattanooga, I firmly believe, is an exception to that, because here in Chattanooga, we have so many local options for so many things that we are more willing to shop locally, and we're more willing to support our neighbors and be good market people, I suppose would be the way to put it, because we are helping our neighbors by shopping local. It's David Tulis' slogan, actually, is love your neighbor, buy local, which should be locally, and he knows that, but it rolls off the tongue better when you say buy local. And it's a great idea. It's goodwill toward men, right? It's a good Christmas sort of thing. It puts good feelings deep down inside, the warm fuzzies. And so helping out local people through apps seems to be even better, right? Because if I can help out local people and have it be convenient, that's all the more better. And there are actually a few apps which can help you do that. Uber being one of them. And no, I'm not being paid by any of these different apps to say anything. I'm really not being paid by anybody to say anything. So I'm not being paid by Uber. I'm not being paid by Shipped to say anything good about Uber or Shipped. I just really do think that these are good services. So I guess that's my call to credibility. is that I'm not being paid by any of these different services or different apps to say good things about them. It's just, I really do think that they are good. And so I'll tell you if I think they're good or if I think they are bad. Hence my very big dislike for Apple, but also a really big dislike for Microsoft as well. So I hate both of them. It's just I hate one less than I hate the other. But I digress. This app Shipt, as was written about in Times Free Press, is from Birmingham, Alabama. They have a quote from Ann Adams, who's a community relations manager there. She says, "We want to be in 100 cities by 2018. And with all the tech activity going on in Chattanooga, we believe that this will be a good market for us. For our members, it's an economical way to save you the hour or so it would take you to go and shop your groceries and turn that over to one of our shoppers. And for our shoppers, this is an opportunity for them to work on demand when their schedule allows and make some extra money." Adams said that Shipt has been well received in nearby Nashville and Huntsville, Alabama. And she says, "And with the growing tech community in Chattanooga, we think there will be a lot of interest in our service." Now, note that phrase there. Note that phrase that she just said. With the growing tech community in Chattanooga, we think there will be a lot of interest in our service. The growing tech community in Chattanooga. You live in Chattanooga, right? Maybe you live somewhere near Chattanooga. Like me, I don't actually live in Chattanooga. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I live in the greater metropolitan area. I don't live in Tennessee. I live in Catoosa County in Georgia. And I really like it in Catoosa County in Georgia, despite all the negatives that comes with it. Our city court clerk was just arrested by the GBI. Of course, these are allegations which are pressed against him. There are charges. There's not any proof of anything that I know of. He's not been convicted, so he's not guilty at this point. But you get the idea of some of the nasty things which happen in Catoosa County. It's not that great sometimes, especially when a professional wrestler was actually running for mayor, and it turned out that he allegedly did not live in the city proper and could not run for mayor as such. And then he sued, and then he claimed that a bunch of his campaign signs had been stolen, and he was a character. Also, I think he towed my car one time. I'm not even joking. I think the guy who ran for mayor or tried to run for mayor in Ringgold, I'm fairly certain he towed my car at one point. And yeah, it's Catoosa County is really, really bizarre, especially Ringgold. It's a great city, and it's not very tech oriented, but it's a great city. But it's also really, really weird. Lots of history, though. Battle of Ringgold Gap. There's actually a statue to Patrick Cleburne, a Confederate officer on Highway 41. So it's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, that's Ringgold in a nutshell. I really like Ringgold. But anyway, I don't technically live in Chattanooga. I live in the greater metropolitan area of Chattanooga, but I don't actually live in Chattanooga. Kind of like Kennesaw is not in Atlanta. It's an outlying suburb of Atlanta. So people who live in Kennesaw identify as Kennesauians, I guess. They don't really live in Atlanta, but they're close enough to it to count as being part of the metropolitan area. And Kennesaw is one of the best cities I've ever been to, by the way. It's kind of amazing. But anyway, I digress yet again. So I live in the greater metropolitan Chattanooga area, and I can tell you that this city is way different from a lot of other cities out there. It's very forward thinking in terms of technology, but it's also kind of, and I don't mean this to be an offense, it's also kind of backward in a good way, right? I don't mean, oh, it's just a bunch of hillbillies and hicks live in Chattanooga. No, I mean, it's backward in the sense that there are a lot of undeveloped areas. And that's good. That's really nice to see. So Chattanooga has a lot to offer in terms of opportunities for the tech sector and opportunities for people who are into outdoors. There are a lot of outdoor opportunities here in our area. There's hiking, caving, rock climbing. In fact, Chattanooga is world renowned, or at least country renowned, for its rock climbing opportunities. So there's a lot to be said for Chattanooga. But yeah, so an app like this one, moving to Chattanooga and citing the tech opportunity in the area, really does speak loudly to me. Anyway, Shipt charges its users a yearly membership fee of $99 for an unlimited number of deliveries. So users order their food for delivery on Shipt's app, whose groceries, which is, I shouldn't say whose, because Shipt is not a thing, but Shipt's app, which the grocery prices are marked up slightly from public store prices, which makes sense. The membership fee and higher prices provide the funding for the shoppers to deliver food within a few miles of each of the area public stores across most of Hamilton County. Now, that's going to be a problem for me potentially, because again, I don't live in Hamilton County. I live in Catoosa County. So this is not particularly helpful to me personally, but this could mean potentially that I could get things delivered to the office here in Hamilton County, because we're in Hickson. So that could be really useful to me as well. So there's a lot to be said for different delivery services and different apps like that. In fact, there's a food delivery service here. Don't recall the name of it right now, but there is actually a food delivery service in Chattanooga, which you have a whole list of different stores or different restaurants you can get things from, and then a driver will take it out to you. And it's really dang cool because it's so over the top and how cool it is that it's just so convenient. Now we're seeing a lot of convenience-based apps popping up, which don't just help you in terms of convenience, they also help out local people make some extra cash. Like this one, Shipped, Uber does as well. Lyft, if it's still in the area. There's Airbnb, and there's different apps like the one that allows you to, or actually it's more of a service, it's a website actually, that allows you to buy food from local restaurants delivered to your door. So there's a lot of different options there that allow you to get stuff shipped to your door. How cool is that? And you're helping out the local economy, which really you can't beat. So that's an article written by the Times Free Press about this particular new app that's coming out here in our area. It's called Shipped. That's SHIPT. It's a grocery delivery app, and again, it has a $99 annual fee. I'm not being paid to say that either, so I'm just sort of throwing out there that it is a really cool service, and I might actually try it out. $99 a year sounds like a lot just initially. But when you consider the whole price of gas and the price of moving around and all this sort of thing, it does make sense. So it does make sense. It just seems like a lot sort of when you're faced with the number, you're like, oh, $99. But then you hear, well, considering gas and everything I would spend if I drove out there myself, I'm probably actually potentially saving money depending on what I drive. So, yeah. And speaking of the local economy, Volkswagen has had some troubles recently, and now it's come out that the troubles at Volkswagen might not be as bad as was previously believed, because apparently the emissions scandal wasn't as bad as we thought, and people here locally especially have been really worried about the fate of Volkswagen, because Volkswagen is, of course, a semi-local business. Obviously, it's an international company, right? It's in Germany, but there's a factory here which employs a lot of people. In fact, a lot of people I know work at Volkswagen in the different in the giant factory which they made there. A huge factory that manufactures these Volkswagen Passats especially, and it's going to be manufacturing, I think it's either a crossover or an SUV, I don't recall which, that's going to be made at that same plant. They're tooling up for it now. So it's good news that it might not be as bad. Volkswagen can take a hit, but we were really worried about how could Volkswagen take that hit is the thing. Like an EPA scandal, can Volkswagen take that hit? Now, the nice thing about Volkswagen is that it is an international company and it has a lot of its assets overseas. So even if Volkswagen was banned for sale in the US, I don't think Volkswagen would be going anywhere internationally. So that is good news, certainly. So what other apps can we be using nowadays? I really like music. I think music is one of the better things you can do with your smartphone. Here's the thing about smartphones, though. I've got a smartphone in my hand right now. I'm holding my Motorola Moto G, which I think is one of the best smartphones you can use on the Android side, especially for cost effectiveness. Number to call in, by the way, is 423-800-8949. 423-800-8949 is the number to call in here at the station at Hot News Talk Radio. And you can also email us, hotnewstalkradio@gmail.com. And you can watch us on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and then search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you can watch us there. So just go on YouTube and then search for Hot News Talk Radio. And you can go on the TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone. I'm going to open up my smartphone right now, punch in my PIN code, and I'm going to go to my home screen, obviously, because I was just in Firefox. All right, going to go to my home screen. I'll go to the Play Store. You can follow along. So now I'm on the Play Store, and I'm greeted with a bunch of different apps that it wants me to get that I don't really want. And I'll search for TuneIn. So it's T-U-I, or not Tube, T-U-N-E. There we go. I can't spell. T-U-N-E-I-N. TuneIn Radio pops up. I'll tap on that. I'll just hit install, and there I go. Now I've got the TuneIn Radio app on my phone. All I have to do now is go to TuneIn, and then I can listen to Hot News Talk Radio streaming live. So once I launch TuneIn, I'm updating right now because I've already got it installed. So it's updating TuneIn right now. Just give it a sec. You know how phones are, right? And you're like, doesn't that happen to you? You want to do something that seems just like a simple thing, and you just want to get something done, and it turns into this whole big rigmarole where you can't just get one thing done. You've got to do 40 other things before you can get this one thing done that you wanted to get done. I wanted to show you how to use a TuneIn Radio app, and now it's installing an update. There it goes. So I'll hit open. Probably about the time it was updating, you can have yours installed. It's about 15 megs. It's not very big. I'll tap on open. It's got to take a little bit because it's just updated. It's got to initialize itself. Got the TuneIn splash screen coming up. Version 14.4, hopefully. All right. So I'll search for Hot News Talk Radio. And there it is. Now it's playing. And dang, do I sound good. Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn Radio app. And you can listen to us streaming live on TuneIn for your smartphone. You can even comment, actually, on TuneIn. If you have a TuneIn account, you can log in, and then you can actually comment on the stream. And I check the comments basically every day. So if you want to comment on Hot News Talk Radio's stream on the TuneIn Radio app, then you can actually listen to us streaming live, and you can comment on our stream as well. You can also tweet at us, search for Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter, where you report the world decides. Just search for us there on Twitter, and you can listen to us streaming live at Hot News Talk Radio. And you can also tweet at us to get our attention. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can also call in at 423-800-8949. We always like to hear from you. 423-800-8949, where you can listen to us streaming live. TuneIn, by the way, now has TuneIn Premium, where you can listen to NFL, MLB, BPL, whatever the heck that is. But if you want to listen to NFL or NASCAR, guess what? We've got you covered here at Hot News Talk Radio, because we have NASCAR on Sundays, and we have the NFL whenever the NFL plays, a big game. You can listen to it here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com, and on the TuneIn Radio app. And guess what? You don't have to pay money for it. That's the best part, because radio is free. Radio should be free. Subscription radio, satellite radio, that whole thing drove me nuts when I heard about it, because I thought, who's going to pay for radio, right? Who wants to pay money to listen to radio? Not a whole lot of people. And I turned out to be mostly right. Satellite radio is not doing so well right now. It comes in a lot of different cars, right? And it's not a terrible service. It's just that I don't want to pay money because I'm poor. So I don't want to pay money for a particular service. It just seems ridiculous to me. I pay money for Netflix and Amazon, and that's about it in terms of subscriptions, aside from 2600 Magazine, which I'm subscribed to as well. That's about it. I don't want to pay for radio. I listen to a lot of radio. I'm not going to pay for the dang stuff, because radio should be free. Radio should be ad-supported, but it should be free. And that's what I like about being on terrestrial, old-school AM radio, just like we are here at Hot News Talk Radio. Radio should be free. And, of course, here at Hot News Talk Radio, we're free, and we're for the people, and we're independent. We're not owned by any corporate interests, right? The people you hear on the air are the people who are here all the time. We are the people who run Hot News Talk Radio. We're here. We're always live. We're always local. And we're your local guys. You know, we're here in Chattanooga. We're local people. And most of us were born here, actually. I was born in Erlanger Hospital. You know, I'm a regular old Chattanooga good old boy, I guess. I'm here, and I'm from here, and I'm as local as you can get, aside from the fact that I don't actually live in Tennessee. But I'm as local as you can get. I hang out in Chattanooga all the time. It's my stomping grounds. I work in Chattanooga, for heaven's sake. Work in Hickson, technically, I guess, which is Hickson technically part of Chattanooga? It's like an outlying community. It's like a, I don't know what the word for it is. It's sort of like a community, like a neighborhood of Chattanooga, I guess. Anytime I look up Hickson, it seems like it's a separate part, but it's got the same zip code as Chattanooga, so it's kind of weird. Like Hickson and Chattanooga seem to have sort of a weird relationship. I hope Hickson turns into sort of the hipster part, like St. Elmo did not too long ago. But that would be kind of awesome. But anyway, this is Hot News Talk Radio until 40 and hotnewstalkradio.com. I was watching Periscope the other day. Eric Judd from the Mr. Judd show, he streams live on Periscope all the dang time. In fact, he likes to wake me up and call me on my phone whenever he streams on Periscope. He thinks that it's very funny to call me at 6 in the morning whenever he streams on Periscope. Now, I am not a morning person, so that is not cool. Don't do that anymore. But he thinks it's very funny, and he's the only one, aside from maybe you who are laughing right now. But I think that it's not funny at all, and he should not do it. But he calls me to tell me he's streaming on Periscope. If you want to stream on Periscope, don't call me when you do, but I might follow you. Just get the Periscope app for your smartphone, and then you can get that, and you can listen to us streaming. Or you can't listen to it. You can watch some of our live streams, because Eric is on. I'm on sometimes on Periscope. If you follow me on Twitter, it's at Radio Russell. Search for at Radio_Russell, and you can follow me there if you want to. And I stream on Periscope semi-often. I like to do it when I get off of work here. I'm never off of work, but I like to do it when I go off the air for the last time on at 6. When I go off the air for the last time, I'll usually do a Periscope stream and just, go around the office and show people what's up, basically show people how the day has been and what I've been doing and all that sort of thing. Just sort of a regular update on Periscope. So if you want to see that, you can go to Hot News Talk Radio. I usually retweet because I sort of semi-run the Twitter here too. I'll retweet my Periscope stream, and you can watch that here, Hot News Talk Radio. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
While politicians debate climate change and taking our guns, they leave America vulnerable to disaster. You need to act now to keep your family safe and prepared. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have long-term storage food? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? If not, what are you waiting for? Call P5 Preparedness right now, 423-602-2175. Do you honestly think the government is going to help you? If you do, you are wrong, dead wrong. Don't get caught unprepared. Let the experts at P5 Preparedness get you ready for any emergency or disaster situation. Today, we offer a wide range of classes for the beginner on how to prepare, as well as the expert prepper. We stock a wide range of supplies, including long-term storage food, water filtration, outdoor gear, tactical gear, and plate carriers. P5 Preparedness, East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel Road. You will see the Army Deuce and a Half truck, 423-602-2175, 1309 Panorama Drive, Chattanooga. P5preparedness.com.
Lay your burdens down at the Woodhouse. Leave all your worries at the door. Just take some time. We're transforming life.
Happy holidays at the Wood. From the Woodhouse Day Spa. Holiday gift cards available at chattanooga.woodhousespas.com.
Do you have an event coming up for the holidays, or maybe it is your daughter's wedding, or maybe just a church or office party? Then you need to select Choo Choo Barbecue. That's correct, Choo Choo Barbecue. Whether you like pork, chicken, or beef, oh yes, Choo Choo Barbecue with their savory rub flavor. Oh my goodness, it's making me hungry right now. You add in their delicious smoked aroma, and you have set the table for a perfect meal with Choo Choo Barbecue. That's right, Choo Choo Barbecue. Why don't you give them a call right now? 423-843-9554. That's 843-9554. Call 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue. You know where it's located, off of Hickson Pike, right there at the Valley Brook area. Don't kid yourself. Your stomach is already on the way.
Don't be a victim. Arm yourself today at Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range, offering the finest selection of personal firearms and ammo, especially the hard-to-find ammunition. You know the police can't protect you. They show up after the crime is committed. The ability to protect yourself, your family, and when called upon, your nation is enshrined in the United States Constitution. Shop the largest selection of shooting supplies on their online store, CarterShootingSupply.com. Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range, the largest and cheapest selection in Chattanooga. 6210 Highway 58, Harrison. Call 344-1099. That's 344-1099. Keep your family safe this Christmas by buying them a certificate for Carter Shooting Supply Tennessee Handgun Permit Class. And stop by today to consult one of their qualified experts. They'll fit you perfectly to the firearm that meets your needs. Call 344-1099. You'll always find the widest selection of new and used firearms at Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range. 6210 Highway 58, Harrison. Call 344-1099.
Fed raising rates, China's economy in trouble. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Patrick Neal. At Edward Jones, we provide the tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing. Stop by my office next to the Target Shopping Center in Hickson, or call me at 423-870-7894. That's Patrick Neal at 870-7894. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Google can do a lot more for you than you might give it credit for. And we're going to talk about all the different things that Google can do for you. What can Google do for you? Now, here's the thing. Everybody has Google nowadays, right? Like, you've got it, I've got it, we all have access to it. Google is basically kind of the future. And it doesn't seem like Google's going anywhere unless there's a giant stock market crash that somehow takes out Google, which didn't happen in 07 or 08. And I don't think will happen now because there actually has been sort of a crash of sorts. So yeah, in case you didn't know, stocks are doing terribly today. Basically, in the global scale, everyone is down except for Nikkei. For some reason, the Japanese stock market is going up while everyone else's is going down. So maybe the Japanese are sabotaging us, perhaps. But anyway, that's the update on the stock market. It's not doing too well. In fact, how can we find out about stocks? Well, maybe Google can help us. What's the stock market like right now? Well, we have to be more specific, don't we? What's the Dow Jones like right now? Come on, Google. Don't let me down now. Dow Jones. It usually does it for me too. That's the annoying thing. Whenever you want it to do it, it won't. I used to have this thing where Google would give me like a stock report every day when I woke up, and it was really, really cool. Let's see. Okay, Google, what's the status of the S&P 500? Huh, that's weird. Maybe it can't get that because it's proprietary or something. But usually you can find out really good information. Like, okay, Google, what's the price of oil per barrel? And then it gives you an update on it. Usually it'll talk to you. And I think mine's just freaking out for me. Right now it's below $36 a barrel, by the way. So it's fresh 2009 lows, according to CNN Money, by the way. So oil is really, really cheap, meaning that gas is also really, really cheap, which is really good for us. A fun feature you can do with Google, by the way, if you have the Google Now app, or if you just have the Google app, you can just launch it. And I'll do it right now. I'll just launch the Google app. And for me, it just takes me to my Google Now screen because I have that installed on my Android phone. But what you can do is you can have it set so that it'll tell you where you're parked. And then you can use that information then to find out how long it'll take you to get home. Like, for instance, I'll say, okay, Google, how long will it take me to get home?
Your home is 23 minutes from your location by car in light traffic. Here are your directions.
See, and it gives me my direction, very futuristic. Like, I can get directions right now to, let's say, okay, Google, take me to the Majestic 12 Theater.
Navigating to Majestic 12 Cinema.
And it opens up navigation right then and there. So you can do that in your car without having to really worry about the whole, oh, I'm texting and driving thing. Because in Tennessee, it is legal to hold your phone, and it's legal to talk on the phone for now. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's legal to talk on your phone for now. There is legislation on the books that they're trying to get pushed that would make it so you have to use a hands-free to use your phone and to talk on the phone. But right now, currently, in Tennessee, it is legal. Now, don't take my legal advice, but right now in Tennessee, it is technically, as far as I know, I'm not a legal expert, legal to talk on your phone while you're driving. You just text. I'm not sure what the legal definition of texting is, if it's typing or what, but if you can open your phone, like, say, my phone's locked by a PIN code, but I can do that without even looking at my phone. So I'm on my home screen right now on my Android phone, and I can do, okay, Google, take me to the Majestic 12 movie theater.
Navigating to Majestic 12 Cinema.
And I can just do that, and suddenly it's giving me directions. It's so helpful. And in fact, it'll even tell you little things that perhaps you didn't know before. Like, say you are confronted with a tricky trivia question in your head. Like, that happens to me all the time. Like, I'll wonder what year something came out. So I'll say, okay, Google, what year did Star Wars come out?
Star Wars was released in United States of America on May 25th, 1977.
So maybe you're thinking, well, is it 77, 76, 78? Now you know. You can find these things out with Google, and it's very, very helpful. It's one of the better things you can use your smartphone for, actually. Your smartphone essentially is your conduit into the infinite expanse of knowledge, which is the internet. It's right there at your fingertips. Literally, at your fingertips. It's right there. There's no excuse to not use it. So it's amazing. It's really, really cool. Like, for instance, we can find out, okay, Google, what's the stock price of Walmart right now?
Walmart stores is currently trading at $59.24.
So if you're a market analyst of some sort, that's very useful information for you. If you just want to know what's happening, you just want to know what's happening in the world. And actually right now, Walmart is not doing too well. It's actually down 0.35 points, which is 0.59%, which is rather frightening. Actually, the Dow Jones is being dragged down pretty badly by Walmart and a few other companies. Caterpillar actually being one of them for some reason. What's Caterpillar trading at? Let's find out. Okay, Google, what's Caterpillar trading at?
Caterpillar is currently trading at $65.61.
So maybe I should invest in Bitcoin. Okay, Google, what's the price of Bitcoin?
1 BTC equals 435 United States dollars and 99 cents.
So I can use all this information, which I just got by talking to my phone, to find out about the price of Bitcoin, the price of Caterpillar, the price of Walmart. All this information can be had just by talking to my phone. It's as easy as that. It's super easy. There's no technical jargon. It's just you tap on your phone and you talk to it. You can even get little hints like you want to know what the weather's like. Easy enough. What's the weather like in Chattanooga?
It's 62 degrees and cloudy in Chattanooga.
See, and I can find out on specific days like this. Okay, Google, what's the weather going to be like on Sunday?
Sunday's forecast for Chattanooga is 71 degrees and cloudy.
And I can find out all of this information straight from my phone with no technical know-how required. And if you have an Android phone, it comes right with it. If you have an iPhone, no problemo. All you got to do is download the Google app on your iPhone, and you can do all of that too. Now, Siri will have similar functionality. But the thing with Siri is that Siri does not access Google in a way that I like. It's my personal preference, right? Like I prefer Android over iPhone because that's my personal preference. It really doesn't matter. If you want to get an iPhone, that's totally fine. If you want to get an Android phone, that's totally fine. Really, it's up to you. It's all about your personal taste. Do you like multitasking? And do you like having a larger phone with a bigger screen and more security with your apps because they're vetted by Apple? And do you like having Apple devices? Do you have an iWatch? Do you use a Mac computer and all these different things? If that's the case, then an iPhone is honestly probably better for you. Are you more technically inclined? Do you have a Windows machine or even a Linux machine? Do you like having access to Google and Google Play Music and having all the different Google apps? Do you use Google Play? Do you use Google Pay, which is how you pay with Google? Then in that case, you should probably get an Android phone. It's about what you use, how you use it, what your personal tastes are. And that's really kind of totally fine. It's just all up to you. So really, you're going to see a lot of people who say, oh, don't get an iPhone because this or that, or oh, don't get an Android phone because this or that. It's all about personal preference. The difference between the two is not very big on a, strictly speaking, just on a consumer level. Like you're using an iPhone. What do you think about it? You're not going to notice a huge difference between an iPhone and an Android phone in terms of user experience, especially right now where Android's gotten so much better and iOS has gotten so much better than it used to be even just last year. And it's going to continue to be getting better. You're not going to notice a whole lot of difference. The fun thing about computing nowadays, too, is that a lot of us do most of our computing stuff on the net. Like most of us don't actually run applications other than Firefox or Internet Explorer or Opera or Google Chrome or whatever. We're usually just launching our web browser and then going from there when we use our computers. So it's getting to the point where specs barely even matter on a laptop. If you can run Netflix, you're good to go, it seems like. So it's getting to the point where a Chromebook is a viable option even as a work computer. And it's weird, but I mean, that's the case. It's super bizarre, but that actually is kind of how it's getting to be nowadays, where everything is web-based and cloud-based and server-side instead of client-side. That wouldn't really work for me personally because I do a lot of things which are very much very computer heavy, right? Like very processor intensive, especially at work. I do a lot of audio editing. I do some video editing. I do a lot of audio and video stuff, media stuff, basically, is what I do here at the station. So I couldn't really do the whole server side thing yet, but it's being developed. And we're seeing developments actually in the field of video editing, nonlinear video editing and nonlinear audio editing on a server where you can do it all remotely. And as bandwidth gets better and as the technology gets better, we're eventually potentially going to be seeing entirely web-based computing where everything is just in your browser and almost the entirety of your computer experience is going to be based in your browser. And the day is coming because that's the most accessible thing. That's what the market leans towards because everyone wants to just use their computers. Most people nowadays use their desktops and their laptops as Facebook, YouTube, and Netflix machines. And that's about it. And I mean, that's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. I can't tell you you're wrong for doing it that way. You can't use your computer the wrong way. Is what I'm saying. Like any way you want to use it, I can't tell you that you're computing wrong. You're doing computers wrong. It doesn't really work that way. So it's hard for me because I'm so much of a computer enthusiast. But if you want to do that, fine. I can't tell you different. I can't tell you, hey, you're computering wrong. Don't do that. Or, hey, you're using your phone wrong. Don't do that. However you want to do it is fine. I can really only give you suggestions when it comes to computing, when it comes to what you can or shouldn't do on your computer. There are some things which are just blatantly, obviously, to me anyway, something you shouldn't do on your computer. I'll give you an example. Right now on the computer, you can easily get viruses. It's easy to do if you do the wrong things. And it's especially easy to do if, say, you keep getting toolbars for different coupons. Coupons, oddly enough, are kind of like a consumer trap because a lot of people want coupons because a lot of people like me want to save money. And if you want to save money, chances are you're going to go the coupon route or coupon, however you want to pronounce it. I've always been taught to say coupon, and I keep hearing people who say coupon, like coupon. I don't know which is right. Is it coupon or is it coupon? I also don't really care, but go figure. But anyway, most people want to save money by doing that. And a lot of people, for some odd reason, download toolbars to get coupons. And that's not the right way to go about it. There are options for you if you want coupons. There are lots of different websites that'll give you coupons for free that you don't require you to download anything or even log into anything. For instance, I order pizza pretty often. And as such, I use coupon codes pretty often. And there are actually websites dedicated to just Papa John's coupons. Like, for instance, okay, Google, Papa John's coupons. All right, so now I'm seeing actually Papa John's will give you coupons right there on the website. In fact, interestingly enough, a lot of different websites will give you coupons just right there on their own website. So you have to keep that in mind too. But Groupon and Retail Me Not tend to be the best options. Usually if it's, now this is a very general statement, but usually if it's the first thing that comes up in Google when you search for coupons, it's probably okay. That's not always the case, but most of the time that tends to be the case. So for instance, I'm on Groupon right now and I don't have to log in or anything. And in fact, I can get the Groupon app if I want to. I don't really want to, but I'm on Groupon right now and I'm seeing coupons for 2 free large one-topping pizzas. Here's one, 25% off with a certain purchase price. At select locations, 40% off, which is an online-only coupon. And all I have to do to get it is just tap on it, and there it is. I can just hit buy, and it'll order it for me. So that's all you need to do. And it's not complicated. You don't need toolbars for it. If you have a smartphone, you can just do it right there on your phone. It's super easy. So this makes it a lot harder to be fooled, essentially. It's like the Who song, won't be fooled again. So that makes it a lot easier for us, the consumers, to not get fooled by scammers, because that can happen a lot, actually, surprisingly. Something that I keep seeing happening, by the way, is people falling victim to what's called phishing. Now, phishing is something which is easy to fall for, considering what it is. Phishing is, and it's spelled with a PH. Phishing is where a website will email you looking like another website and asking for your login information. Especially we see this with PayPal, where someone will email you and the email looks like a PayPal email. And it'll say, we've had a problem with your login information. If you can just log in again, then we can fix it right for you. Fix it right up for you. And that's all it is. and you think, oh, well, I trust PayPal, obviously, nothing wrong with PayPal. I trust PayPal, and I'll give this website my information to fix my problem. Now you've gone and given away your financial information, essentially. You're just giving away the keys to your bank account. So don't ever do that. Only trust it if it has a little lock in the upper left-hand corner. That's your sign that you're using HTTPS or HTTP secure, which means that the connection you're on is encrypted. And it should say, secured by PayPal. And it'll even say PayPal Incorporated in the upper left-hand corner next to the lock. You can hover over it and see what company is verifying this website. So it's easy to fall victim to, but if you know what to do, you can be one step ahead and not be fooled. And it happens to the best of us. It's happened to a lot of very smart people I know. It's not an issue of, oh, I'm so dumb. It's not like that. It's just know-how. It's just knowing what to do and what not to do. It doesn't say anything about intelligence. It just says something about how easy different computer companies can fool us. I've been fooled before. It's just, that's how it is, right? Computers are, by their very nature, or by design, I should say, designed to be helpful for you. Computers are designed to be as helpful as possible. Computers are designed, especially modern ones, are designed to be as intuitive as possible for you to use. Android phones are that way. iPhones are that way. They are designed to be as intuitive as possible so you can use them as easily as possible. And it's really nice, but sometimes we see things that are too good to be true and we fall for them because sometimes legitimate things seem to be too good to be true. For instance, we'll see an email. I get emails like this all the time. Redeem your $100 gift card from Walmart. And on its face, that sounds really nice, right? Like $100 gift card from Walmart? Yes, please. But chances are, especially if you've never been in contact with Walmart before through email, that's probably a scam. In fact, that's undoubtedly a scam. I can guarantee you that's not for real. So keep that in mind whenever you get an email that looks to be too good to be true. Chances are it probably is. And really, what do you have to lose by not replying to it? $100 gift card versus losing all your financial information by responding to it. Yeah, we don't want to get our identity stolen. That can happen a lot, and it can happen very easily, especially nowadays. We see even where we can't even help it, where financial institutions will get hacked, and your financial information is now suddenly way out in the open. We saw that happen with a insurance company, even here in Chattanooga, where a lot of different employees of Erlanger had their information stolen. And we had that happen with government employees where the OIG, no, it wasn't the OIG, that's the Office of the Inspector General. It was it was like a hiring office at the government. It was an organization or a part of government that like nobody's heard of that got hacked into. And as a result, government employee information got leaked. Now, I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not a fan of government employees, but I also don't think that government employees should have all their information, especially financial information, hacked, because a lot of them are just guys like you or I who are trying to, do a job and do it well and want to go home to their families. So I don't hate them, right? But I also don't think that they should have their financial information taken like that. That's wrong. It's not ethical, especially. It's not the right thing to do. So as much as I don't like the feds, I also don't like it when people are taken advantage of. So it's a difficult situation, and this can happen to anybody. It can happen to a Fed. It can happen to a regular Joe. It can happen to an employee of Walmart. It can happen to an employee of Goldman Sachs. It's just something that happens, and we can safeguard against it, and we need to safeguard against it. So those are my little tips for me to you. If you get an email from what looks like a financial institution, especially your bank, that asks you for your login information, just don't give it over. If you really are worried about your bank account having forgotten your email password or whatever, then just go to the website itself for that service you use. Go to PayPal's website. If you can log in just fine, then there's no problem. If you can go to SunTrust or wherever you use and log in just fine, then obviously there's no problem there. So just don't reply to the email, put it in your spam, ignore it. Simple as that. So that's my tip from me to you about how to stay secure and trying not to get phished, because social engineering is one of the better ways to hack somebody. Instead of going through the whole technical aspect of hacking into a mainframe or whatever, like you see in the movies, usually stuff like that happens just by asking someone for their information. You'd be surprised how far you can get just by asking. Yeah, you'd be very surprised actually to see just how far you can get just by asking. It's really easy, actually. I've read books before about how it's super, super easy to get even social security numbers from people just by pretending to be and telling people that you are an IRS agent. There's been a problem with their records and you could potentially have a bunch of money deducted. So I need your social security number so I can clear that up, right? I mean, it's simple as that. And a lot of people fell for it, especially back in the 90s when we weren't as tech savvy. So keep that in mind. Another thing I like to push is being secure on our smartphones, especially. If you use a fingerprint scanner on your phone, you're not being secure at all by any stretch of the imagination. If you're on your smartphone and you use your fingerprint as your password, that's not secure by any stretch of the imagination. What is secure, for the most part, nothing's completely secure, but what is much more secure is using even a 4-digit PIN code with numbers that were randomly generated. And it's super easy to do that. All you have to do is go to Google, search for random number generator, have it generate a string of numbers, pick out any 4, and then 4 in a string, and then make that your password. Memorize it, make it your PIN code, and there you go. Now you have a secure-ish PIN code that's much more secure than a fingerprint can be. Here's the thing about fingerprints, too. They count as physical evidence. So if you get in a situation where you're having legal problems, say, for instance, and your fingerprint is your code to your phone, and maybe you have incriminating evidence on there, and the police get your fingerprint, and they open up your phone, and now it's open for all the world, basically. So using your fingerprint as your password is a very bad idea. The better option, because that's physical evidence, the better option is to use a PIN code instead. And oftentimes, actually, phone companies will not cooperate with police. And this can act in your favor in these situations where you're not guilty, right? Let's say you're being wrongly accused of something. This can help you out immensely in those situations where, say, Apple does not cooperate with any law enforcement agencies, as far as I know. It hasn't in a long time. They just say, we can't get into these people's phones because we don't know how to. We don't have the keys even to get into these people's phones. It's out of our hands. That makes the FBI really upset, but it can help you out quite a lot. And that's one tip that can help save your butt, basically, because you don't want to get caught in a situation like that. And I've seen videos where police will ask for people's phones just at a regular traffic stop. So it can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. You'd be very surprised how often this can happen, actually. Hey, it's a really rainy day today, so if you're going to be driving, be careful. One way you can keep track of traffic is with Google, actually. Use the Waze app. That's W-A-Z-E, which I know sounds like a radio station. It's not. W-A-Z-E on your smartphone. Download that app, and you can keep track of traffic. That's a hard one to say. You can keep track of traffic going around the city. You can make sure that you're not going to get stuck in bad traffic because it can happen to the best of us. In fact, Google will actually pick a route for you, or a route, I should say. Google will actually pick a route for you so that you can not be late back to the office, which has happened to me before. Google has a thing now where it knows where my house is and it knows where the office is. And it'll actually give me a better direction to get to either my house or my office based on what traffic is like. Traffic is being constantly reported from TDOT back to Google, and Google can actually give you better directions on how to get places. And again, if you use Google now, you can get directions to get to basically anywhere. So I can just say, okay, Google, come on, give me directions to Publix.
Touch the one you want.
And I can pick any of the Publixes in the area. I can get Whole Foods, I can get Carter Shooting Supply, anywhere. And that makes it super easy for me. And as soon as I tap on start, it gives me directions automatically as long as I have Google Maps installed. Very cool stuff. Colin Cowherd is coming up next here on Hot News Talk Radio, our national sports expert right here exclusively, Hot News Talk Radio.